I always like to put my first, my very first house, like next, in front of gold, next to gold.
Do I open it on stream? Okay. We got blasted on Reddit. The funny thing is, on Saturday we specifically wanted to bring in new casters, and the UI was busted. Yeah. Yeah, the irony is actually there. Okay, I would like to bring... I don't know if this is dangerous. What? A little cut? Shh. Okay, guys, give me a second. I am gonna go for screen share. Oh. At least it has like no upvotes. There we go. Okay, so feedback. Let's get this reaction on stream. Hot damn, Beastie, do you wanna? Yeah, but no. I completely agree. Okay, well, yeah, we can all see. We can all watch this together. So the Top Team Gamer was a good tournament. I was initially very excited about it. The matchmaking and schedule were well organized, and it's fair to say the best players took it in the end. So, yes, I think what we could have done a lot better on the qualification side is I should have announced it a little bit more in advance. That was a little bit Monka-esque on our part, and I should have been a little bit better with the marketing at the beginning. I do have one major quip about casting quality. The casting started on Saturday with Whamenqt and Luria. They misinterpreted the UI right off the bat. We did. I was just like, what is this UI? First time I see it. And again, this is something we should have done. And spectated from the start. I don't know why we were looking at resources per minute. I think our producer also misinterpreted the UI from the start. And, I think as a whole, Saturday was our learning experience, 100%. We definitely had a bit of a cake W there. It's fine, mistakes happen. However, both of them seem to lack the technical knowledge to speak about the game. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? For example, casters like Lidocor or KP. If you think that KP has more technical knowledge than I do, you are... The amount of calls, and KP, I love you as a caster, good sir, but the amount of missed calls that this man makes on EGC, but he does it in a very hyped voice, it makes it very, very convincing. And exactly, Crackety and Winston, oh my god, these guys are the technical gods for calling. And exactly, KP sounds like he knows what he's talking about because he's so confident, and he does it exactly. I love KP as a caster. I think he's so entertaining, but my god, he is so wrong sometimes. But because he's so confident, people eat that shit up. And I'm calling him out on this. But KP, I love you, sir. Don't worry. I still think you're the best. But that's why I got Winston, and that's why I asked Crackety as well, by the way. But Crackety was busy this weekend, unfortunately. Nah.
Guys, again, I don't mean this in a bad way, but Mareka has more rating than both Lidocor and KP together. So
yeah. Oh, I can take on both of them at the same time.
I'm pretty sure if they combine their rating, you probably have more.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
But
that doesn't mean that like they're bad casters, but you cannot compare those two things. They're different type of casters. And like, I think this guy that made the post probably meant it well, but I think he himself doesn't understand the game at all. So he thinks that, like, I actually watched some of the VODs, by the way, and I watched some of the streams, and Mareka was calling out a lot of stuff that people don't call out. Like, why is a person doing something? And she was actually correct, because I told her those things.
He's my coach.
And maybe I'm not the best caster, but I know what I'm talking about in the game. So, yeah.
See, this is one thing, like, I don't sound as confident when I call things out, because I feel like if you're a caster, you shouldn't call out the wrong things. beforehand. Like, you should sound, you can speculate, you can try to see what they're cooking, but it's very important for you not to take a hard stance if you don't know your facts. But if I am more confident about this, and sometimes I'll call out the wing that is the right reaction, and you see that wing being clicked 5 seconds later, because again, I know what I'm talking about because I have that man to guide me through everything. Before the games, Beastie and I talk about the different players, the different matchups, the different things that you need to consider. And it's just, you get such a deep game knowledge. And yes, maybe I could be more hype, especially on Sunday. Honestly, guys, I was sleep deprived. I was dead. I made some English mistakes. Oh my God. And I don't mean this as I'm better than either of those. I think that they're much better casters than I am. But I think if we look at 6 months ago to now, there's been so much growth, and that's exactly what I wanted to do with Steelseries. That's why we got Drow and Liralia on the casting deck the day before, because we knew that all the players were going to be able to stream their POVs. We were not going to have a lot of eyes at the start, which is fine. Absolutely fine. We wanted to make sure that these players also get a chance to cast on a cool channel, because how amazing is that? So, yeah, I think that's probably the misinterpretation of why they were there. That's one of the most important parts of esports, is ensuring growth in your community. And that's what we're trying to do there as well. So I left Winston for the last 5 because I know Winston, he understands everything. That guy is like a machine. And then Tim, on the other hand, he's dog shit at the game, right? But he's so fun. And I think we had so much fun casting yesterday.
Guys, you can be bronze player, and you can be a good caster, and you can be the most knowledgeable caster player, and you can be a terrible caster. And we've seen this. Like, some players have a lot of knowledge, but it just doesn't translate, right? So a rank doesn't necessarily mean a good caster, but so like, I'm not gonna say like Whamenqt's better caster than X or Y person, because that's also a personal opinion, right? Some people like, hype casters. Some people like analytical casters. But to say that like a Conquer player, or like people who don't play the game / don't play the game as much, can have more knowledge than like Crackety or Whamenqt or me is just crazy.
Yeah,
that's just crazy. And just because it's literally, the difference is like speaking with confidence and without. Like, I think Winston, based on his commentating, I would say he's Conquer, but you can see that he's not like a top player, but he's always curious to find out what and how they're doing stuff, because he is playing the game, right? So he's like, why is he doing that? He's trying to figure out, because he also plays the game, right? But yeah, so I don't think this is like the case of who's better caster, but it's about the knowledge part. And like, I always tell Mareka, by the way, when she says something like wrong, I tell her like after, because she asked me for advice, and I told her like, that's not why that guy did that. Just so you know, for next time, the reason he's doing it is for this, and yada yada. So,
and that's very important for me, to actually learn why people do things, because I want to improve that. I want to get some understanding. So I don't care if you don't think I'm hype enough or anything. It's all about this sentence over here. They are just confident in what they say, even if they say it incorrectly. And they don't point out their mistakes. I point out, I'm like, oh, that call was a misfire right there. Maybe we should be more confident. I'm going to call, we are getting a culture wing right now. Oh, that's a military, very big play. If we do that.
Yeah, like if I took any cast, if I went to my stream and took any cast, I can probably point out that 90 to 95% is wrong calls, by the way, from almost any caster in the scene, except the ones who are Conquer and are playing the game. And I legit mean this. Like, when I watch the streams, about 90 to 95% is just wrong calls from the get-go. Like, to what players are going to do, to why they did things, is just all wrong. But caster's not necessarily there to be correct, but you got to make a distinction between those two.
Yeah, no, this is see, I get it. I think the wise general, I would actually like to go into his Reddit profile. I would like to see the rank of this person as well. Because in this case,
he might be a furry.
Oh my god! Oh!
It's probably not.
Oh, I saw some. Okay, I'm not going into that profile. Never mind. I should. No, I'm not going to say why right now. Yikes. Okay, anyway. Yeah, well, I'm not going to do a deep dive right now. So, basically, I felt that women could bring a lot more excitement and energy to casting. Yes, by 5 hours in, I was dead. This is 100% true. I felt like when we got to 5 hours, my energy levels plummeted. It was insane. And I think this is the same with streaming. Both. Actually, I feel like yesterday Tim and I held our own, but I think the first day I was a little bit exhausted after a while. The thing is, we didn't really establish the roles as like hypecaster, freaking out about things. I think people are very used to having that type of casting with Drongo because he does one game at a time on his channel. So when you watch the games, you're like, oh, he's at 100% energy the whole time. You can't have that in a 6-hour cast.
I mean, that's what I mean. It's like you're comparing apples to dynamites. It's like, yeah, Drongo casts a game that's 20 minutes, uploads it to YouTube, and there's a difference when you're adminning and casting for 8 hours. Like, you know, but there's a huge difference. You can't compare YouTube and live streams. It's a completely different thing. These are pre-recorded videos, which you can take multiple takes of.
Oh yeah, well. That's true.
You can. By the way, I'm not saying Drongo does this, but in StarCraft, people used to watch replays before they cast them, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then when they cast them, they're like calling everything correct because they just saw the fucking replay. They're like, oh yeah, Roach transition would be great here. Then you see a pro player drop a Roach Warren. So YouTube is pre-recorded, okay? Twitch is live, and a lot of things like go wrong, or it's just different. Get tired.
And we can also see that with Drongo, like casting live as well. We don't see him much.
Chad,
yeah, he's amazing.
He plays the game and he knows the weirdest fucking shit and the weirdest builds.
He's just such an amazing. Yeah, Drongo is probably my favorite, and I think everyone can agree with that. But yeah, Drongo, he's good. Like, I feel like Drongo is the optimal form of a caster. He's like Taste Toasters in one, right? Honestly. So when we're doing casting, you need to keep that in mind. And these things are also something we're learning from. What I will do next time, if we're having full days, I'm probably going to have caster pairs. So we're going to have 2 people for 4 hours and another 2 people for the next 4 hours. I don't think it's going to be possible to keep doing the 8-hour non-stop casting thing. It is exhausting. It strains your voice. We're sitting here chugging tea, chugging water behind the scenes, and it was an absolute destruction. And honestly, a quarter of the way through, I became disengaged in midway through. You know, you can suck. You know, anything. Go. Ah, I don't want to finish that sentence. Thank you, Tim, for putting that in my damn vocabulary. You can.
The Wise General has a 44% win rate in Platinum 2 with English and French.
Okay, so he's a Platinum player. The guy who made the post. There we go. Yikes. I believe the casting could be improved, and I agree with that. That's a great sentence, brother. That's an amazing sentence. By having more experienced casters. No. More experienced casters are not the way that we want to, that's not the way we want to go forward building this. Yes, for the finals, for the main events, 100%. But if we're going to do early on casting, I'm 100% going to bring new faces onto the scene. It is so, so important to bring new people in because we need to have that economy. We made this tournament with the goal as well for other people to have content for the next while. There's so many people out here that don't have games to cast. Like KP on his channel, there's not always unlimited content. Now, he has something like 24 games that he can go through and make content out of. And that's going to be great for him. The same with Truey. She's an amazing Dutch caster as well. And in the future, I might bring her on, even though she might not be what you would call a hype caster.
She doesn't want to, maybe I'll force her.
So I don't plan on putting the best of the best in the early rounds at all. I want to get good, but right now we want to facilitate growth in this scene, and we're not going to give you KP for every round. And honestly, we can't afford them. If casters get paid more than the players winning these tournaments, and in Steelseries we just don't have the budget to do that. So if you can get me experienced casters or donate money to the community to actually put them in, that's going to be great. And Sassy, I see you in the chat as well. Sassy is also a caster. I want to get in more of the beginner rounds because, Sassy, you are also not a hype caster, but you're a caster who knows what he's talking about a lot of the time. And I think that's a very good element. And I think Sassy will maybe make it to those final round casters that I'm talking about eventually. Like, I want Sassy to also get that experience to grow and to get into it. But that's what I mean. We are actually just not... I can't pay $300 for KP to cast one day. I don't have that money. I can't pay Lidacor $300 to cast for one day. You got $750 for winning.
Yeah, so like if she paid 2 casters, she would pay more, like same amount than us winning first place.
I don't have that money.
And like running a tournament or a business or whatever, like you have to look at the cost to gain. And so how many viewers did you get average?
We peaked at 2,000, and average I think we were at like 1.6, 1.7.
Okay, so now you have to ask yourself, if the tournament had 1.7, 1.8k, if you paid 2 casters $1,200, how much viewership extra do you think you would get?
Yeah, KP's...
Unless it's more than double, that is not worth it. It's simply like simple math, really. There's nothing more to it.
If they brought viewership, like Aussie, for example, Aussie brings viewership. Aussie might make sense, but I'm not going to go and shell out $600 for 2 casters for one day. I can't. I just, realistically, I can't. What would I rather do with that $600? I would take it and I would put it back into tournaments. I would host another cup for $600 instead and get, let's say, 200 viewers less. Then it's been...
long term.
Exactly.
Like you cannot think one single event. And like, to be fair, Mareka and I, because I did like Beast of the Hill and stuff, we organized 3 tournaments and the viewership is already around 2k in like span of 2 months. So like I think that's pretty good, because obviously Mareka is still learning. Like she's making mistakes and she's learning, and but that's part of the process. So I don't know. I think the feedback is fine.
Yeah.
Like it's more than fine, but like some people don't like Aussie Drongo's casting, right?
Yeah.
Most people do. Some people like my casting, some don't. Some people like KP, some don't. So I think that's personal, but like saying that they should get more experienced casters or that they don't know what they're talking about, that's not an opinion, that's just wrong. So,
yeah. That's why I'm upset about the feedback. The feedback is not, you're not speaking from a place of knowledge. You're speaking from a place of personal opinion, and that's okay. Everybody can have their opinion, and just like some of the casters, they can be wrong. Yes.
Like, now she'll think of like maybe taking a break or adding more casters and stuff like that, but yeah.
So, yeah, I think I will take this. I 100% will, and I will use it. 100% will make sure that there's breaks. We'll get more people on that casting deck, and I just want you guys to know that there's a lot of money that goes into putting on a big show. Like, our producer is also a lot of money. That's why we can't have our producer for every event. We just can't afford him for every event. And that's something that you guys are going to see on our Age of RTS as well. We won't be able to afford a producer because every single dollar that we get from these events is going to go exactly back to these events. That's
like again, the next one, the Dry Arabia one, I am funding it. Like, do you think I'm funding $1,500? Do you think I'm gonna pay another $1,500 for casters? Like, that's not happening.
We're getting 0 for casting.
Like, that's not happening at all. There's no way. Like, I'm not. That's crazy to me.
For us, this is not going to be an event where Beastie makes money out of, or I'm
not.
That
event is good. Sorry, that event is good for a few weeks. So
yes.
I have to pay like $1,500 is priceable, and then casting I would have to pay like $5,000.
Exactly.
Like, that's not happening. Be realistic.
So all in all, I do want to put experienced casters on there. I'm not going to, not for the weekly like progression either. I think this is something that we want to facilitate the casting growth on, and I'm going to say this now and I'm going to say this again. If you're interested in casting, please reach out. I already have a long list of names of people who will be on the channel. And if you are going to be casting on the main channel, we need to make sure that you have Steelseries gear as well. So just making sure to put that out there. But just want to make sure that you guys have the expectations of what we're going to do. We just don't have the EGC budget. And until we can get, you know, double the viewership from just having one random caster in there.
It's not even about the budget.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's a different tournament. Like, you don't have to do something that someone else is doing. And that's the worst way to run a stream or run tournaments or run a business. It's like, yo, let's do exactly what they're doing. I'm sure we're gonna do the same amount of, you know, viewership or whatever else. Like, you're just gonna do worse because they've been doing it for longer. Yeah, you need variety.
Yeah.
Like, there was a point where I wanted to make tournaments regularly, and my idea for the tournaments is for me to always cast and to never have a caster, but to have a pro player with me. So I would cast one day with Wham, one day with Marine Lord, one day with Pipepaw. Why am I doing that? Well, or why would I do that? Well, because it would be different from the other streams. Yeah, it wouldn't be as professional, but you would get so much like knowledge and like game insight that no other stream could do. So that's like the unique thing about it. So everyone's got to find their own thing.
Yeah, I feel like this is just one of those situations where there needs to be understanding over the time how things will change. And I honestly, like, I haven't asked KP to join the Steelseries events, not because I don't think he's good enough. I think he's just too good as a hype caster, and I can't afford him. Honestly, I can't. I haven't asked Littlecore. I know what they get paid at EGC. I just can't match that. And I know Crackety helped out as well with, he knows it's a decreased rate. Tim is also casting for less on our channel because we just don't have that budget. I would rather take every single cent I can and put it back into the prize pool. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing. So now let's go through the comments and see what they said. Constructive criticism is good, but you can't have more experienced casters until they gain experience. Exactly. We need to grow these people. Or having a 1k USD budget for a 1-day production. I know that was a risky one. But honestly, that is the case here. I just don't have that. As a gold player, you are uniquely qualified to get... I agree, Dutch. You might even make some on-point calls that we won't see in every channel. And honestly, I want to single out Drow here. Drow who casted with me. He's platinum. He made a ton of mistakes. And I love that. Because he's learning. And every time he sees that... Yeah, I didn't mean to reply to the comment. Yeah, I don't know. I like what Drunken Smuggler said. I agree with him. We need to get...
By the way, if anyone mauls at me or her, as I said earlier, that casters just don't have knowledge of Conquer Place because they don't play. If anyone's like, no, actually that's wrong, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Come on my stream, whoever thinks that's wrong, I'll ask you questions and I guarantee you're going to be wrong. That's it. Like, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with being, like, again, you don't have to have all the knowledge in the world, but that's just how it is. Or I can just pull up any stream and I can tell you all the things that are wrong, but that would be rude.
Okay, give me 1 second, guys.
I have a question for you guys.
Okay.
I thought about this while Marek is searching for stuff. I have a question for you guys. So you know when a caster casts my game and they call out stuff that I did wrong, even though it wasn't wrong most of the time. Sometimes it is. Would it be equal if I watched their casts and I called out what they're doing wrong?
Oh my god.
See, I would be evil for that, wouldn't I? But they're doing the same to me. Think about that. I had this thought the other day, and I was like, it'd be kind of funny to start a YouTube series where I commentate over their casts and say what they're saying wrong. Because, you know, but that would cause, I think, a lot of drama.
I mean, I think this is also going to cause some friction. The fact that I'm like...
That would cause a lot of drama, I think, but it's kind of funny.
It is. That would be amazing.
The video starts and I'm like, wrong.
Mistake. I was not doing that. That's not why we killed it. Yeah. The scout deletion. I remember when the scout deletion happened on EGC, the first thing they called, I was like, oh, that must have been a misclick.
Yeah, how are you going to misclick delete on your keyboard? Like,
that's just not doing. Now, let's go to the next one. I thought the casting was good. Whamenqt, Tim, Winston, Waffles all seem to have perfect game knowledge. And good. These are the people who are actively using the game. And I want to...
Make a really loud buzzer noise at the start of the video.
So, Tim definitely has less because he just plays less and he doesn't live in Age of Empires. He has a life outside it. Remember, guys, this man's a doctor. He's got now a beautiful girlfriend who plays AoE too. So who knows? Maybe Tim plays more AoE2 soon as well. And isn't Winston a dev? Exactly. That's why we're involved in the game and we have knowledge. Different casters have different personalities and you're entitled to your preferences, but I don't like listening to hype casters for extended periods. Honestly, same. I don't want to be a hype caster. I want to be able to hype in the moment and then I want to chill. Because there are instances where I'm just like, I cannot listen to someone at that energy level for that long, but that might just be because of the tism and I get overwhelmed. So yeah. The only complaint about AoE4 tournaments is the waiting time between games, that we really need a 5-minute observer delay when players are streaming. And I want to point out, our tournament had the least amount of delays. We saw this in other tournaments where there's 10 to 20 minutes downtime sometimes between games. We just go into another random game and we go for it. We want to make sure that there's constant content, and that also doesn't allow us to rest our voices, which is why you might get a little bit of a low energy one here or there, which I actually think if we do have those events, maybe we have some subcasters on call to take a 20-minute slot to just do one game and then bring us back right after. That might actually be a really good ecosystem as well to just keep the show going so there's no downtime. What do you guys think about that one? So, the wise general, Lidico and KP aren't hypecasters, they're very technical. We've gone over that. They talk about the game in more detail and what something means rather than just repeating. Yeah, but sometimes you get the meaning wrong, and that's okay. But it doesn't mean it's better, you know? I do agree. Again, I want to reiterate, I still think both of them are better casters than I am. But we'll get there, guys. It's a slow journey. We'll get there. I've been asking a lot of these tournament organizers, the smaller ones, if I could be casting on their channels for free, of course. I just wanted to gain experience, and it hasn't. Honestly, I've only done a handful of them. So before we started our own thing, I probably casted like 4 games. The only caster that's technical is Crackety. Exactly. And this man, he's so technical and he's so right. He's so damn right. Love that for us.
Yeah, Marika tried to cast on other streams, but
yeah,
she didn't get invited. So
yeah, and honestly, that is a whole discussion in itself, which I'll probably discuss after.
Which is for another time.
Yeah. Yeah, let's go over the comments. And agreed regarding the waiting time. Delay is important. But yeah, I think what we'll do next game, and I agree with this. Again, I agree with this. If players are streaming their POV, we are going to put 0 delay.
I was putting 1 minute delay.
Oh, so thank you. I appreciate it. We're going to put 0 delay from now on.
Also, I have a very good idea.
Yeah?
This is from StarCraft, but how to have even less downtime. And I'll tell you.
Okay, afterwards.
It's a secret tech.
We're not going to share it with
the world. It's a secret
tech. How much did you pay to watch the tournament? Have you applied for a refund? Yeah, unappreciated for something that was free. Honestly, yes. Like, I understand you complain. And that's how I feel about the people who complain in EGC about ads. They're like, we have ads. Just pay a damn sub. If you pay $5 to watch a whole 1 month, every weekend piece of content, just sub for 1 month. And you have a whole month of content. Wouldn't that be great? So I'm on the side here of the ad players. We don't have, I don't know how many ads we have on Steelseries because it's not our channel. But on Age of, Age of RTS, I need to keep our new channel. We're definitely gonna try to limit the ads and put them between games. So, yes.
And also, by the way, if you give a, like feedback, because some people are like, I mean, Marika is obviously, balding a bit. But also the people in the chat, like the guy saying beggars can be choosers. Like, he could have said all that with just like, hey, I wish they got, more of this or more of that. But once you start comparing it to X or Y, then it doesn't see, like, you don't see him as constructive, but instead of like bringing it down.
Exactly. This is exactly what I did here in my reaction as well. I may have done that wrong. You're comparing yourself to someone else. When you give a girl a compliment, you're like, oh, you're so much prettier than any of the girls here. Or, wow, you have a better hairline than that guy. So you're, again, putting someone else down to bring someone else up. And that doesn't feel good, does it? It's not the way we do it. And that's why I brought other people in because they're brought into this post here as well. We're not in a situation where we're raising each other up here or giving constructive feedback, clearly. We're also just putting them down. So you didn't get any ad mid-games? Yes, Lolu! That's what we work for! And Aldied, I always appreciate it. I don't know. I did get ads one time, but I also think they may limit them to 30 seconds for an hour. So, yeah. Okay. What's your elo, kind sir? Shuki! Coming in with the savior, brother. And he doesn't address that at all. There we go. Yeah, of course he doesn't respond to that. So all in all, guys, thank you for watching our event. We're going to keep having great events. We're going to keep this AoE scene pumping, and we're going to make sure that this is going to be awesome content for everyone. And we're going to bring up new casters. We're going to make sure that there's an ecosystem there where people can just be, you know, appreciated and grow and have the opportunities. So when is the next one? The next one is the King of Dry Arabia. That's happening after King of the North. We will be doing a lot of posts and stuff about that. That is by Beastyqt. We're still considering what the final event is going to be for Steelseries. I'm going to be talking to Microsoft, so we're going to try to get this a massive one to just ensure that we get a multi-week event of the same format as we had before. But we might cook it up a little bit, maybe a few 3v3s, you know? Maybe. We'll see. 4v4s? Crazy.